Yellow, easy.
Good evening, everyone. It's Sunday night, 10 p.m. It is indeed a very good Sunday night at 10 p.m. It is the APAT show. Leigh, how are you feeling, my friend? Are you okay? I'm here for you, Leigh. I'm here for you.
I'm good. Honestly, I'm good. It feels a bit of a blur what went on this afternoon, but I'm good with it. It's all okay. You have to sit here and take your medicine and move on to the next game. Yeah, that's the way I look at it. So
look, I live in hope that Stephen Forty is joining us tonight, but we shall wait and see. But Leigh, listen, I felt you needed a bit of support, right? For some friendly faces. So I've lined up a couple of blokes for you. Who have we got in the green room? Let's have a look. Stu and Dan.
Hey, good evening, chaps.
Hello.
How are we doing, guys? We good? We enjoying our Sunday?
Be a lot better if Dan Williams folds his hand.
Oh dear, they're playing poker, Leigh. Well, you might as well get straight into it. They're playing poker. What are the guys playing?
So so we're carrying on with our regular Sunday night little cash game, APAT show cash game. Except we got a bit of PLO going on tonight.
Oh, nice!
Just to spice things up a little bit.
Let's pop that up.
A bit of 4-card action at the moment. So currently got both Stu and Dan at the tables, along with myself, Paul Haycock, and Dan Williams at the moment. So yeah,
very nice.
Yeah, I've had to make my little card cover a little bit bigger to cover up the 4 cards you get this time. I only really worry about 2 of them, to be honest. So it's
you've only got 2, Leigh. Do you know? I would imagine if you send a little video of this into Party Poker support, right, customer support over there, and say, look, I got a problem with a PLO game. You know, I bought in for 25 quid, but you only ever dealt me 2 cards. They're probably going to give you your money back, Leigh.
Well, I mean, we don't normally, offer sort of, any fees or compensation for people that come on the show. But I've got a funny feeling Mr. Owston could well be actually clearing a nice, tidy profit in the next hour and a half. He's already a few dollars up on the rest of the table. So he's looking. Obviously, Dan, you're pretty decent at this 4-card game, yeah?
No, as you can see.
Don't lie, away, man.
I've just made somebody a rich man.
It's Paul. No, Paul does play Omaha Cash for a living these days.
I thought so.
Not quite for a living, but he does quite enjoy the odd session or two. Often at the G Casino in Cov, can regularly see him there, and he's had a couple of decent sessions in the past few months. From what he's told me. Obviously, we don't know about the losing ones. He keeps quiet on those. So
nobody talks about them, Leigh. Nobody talks about the losing sessions. Listen, guys, if you're out there, right, come and play. There'll be seats. Come and play. If you're in the chat, drop a comment, and we will discuss whatever it is you want to discuss tonight with the guys. Simon's out there already. Leigh, evening to you, Simon. And he comments that he's never seen Des so happy at an Everton draw. Is it too early for the football, guys? Is it too early to talk football? Because we saw something rather unusual this weekend, and it wasn't Bournemouth holding a 2-goal lead over Arsenal, which they couldn't hold, or Everton getting a point. I'm talking about Liverpool 7, Manchester United 0. Leigh, let's go to you first. What did you make of it?
Do we have to? Really?
I think we should. I think we should talk a little bit. I think we'd agree. Look, we're all grown up here, right? I've had my 2 hours of absolute adrenaline joy, right? I'm over that now. I think we'd all agree it was an anomaly result, right? United showed plenty in the first half. And then they just sort of lost the plot, right? After Liverpool scored early in the second, they lost the plot. I think that's probably a reasonable summary of the game. What do you think?
Yeah, no, that is pretty much what happened. Funnily enough, I think Gary Neville in the post-match stuff called it a freak result, which Graham Souness really wasn't happy about. I don't think for one second anyone was suggesting that Liverpool didn't play extremely well in the second half and took advantage of the situation. But actually, I thought Gary Neville's summary of it was quite right. I thought in the first half, I thought United were the better side, and Liverpool's only shot on target resulted in a goal. Really good goal as well. Great ball through from Robertson, and Gakpo took it in absolute quality. Really good finish. But really, United were the better side in the first half. Coming second half to concede as early as they did was not great because it made it really difficult. And then they just absolutely fell apart in an unprofessional manner. I wouldn't even say an embarrassing manner. Absolutely unprofessional. The way they went about it, and everything went right for Liverpool. They were every ball was bouncing in the right place. I mean, Darwin got one off the hair bun into the far corner. I mean, it just you just couldn't write it. I mean, seriously. I mean, the Nunes header, he didn't know anything about it. He was literally heading it on into an area.
That's what you call a centre forward's header. Centre forward's header there, Leigh. Smack in the back of the net. No worries whatsoever with that one.
So that's what it was. It's one game. Hopefully, it doesn't have too much of an impact because I've got a feeling that the United squad will come back far in the next games to come because you've got to you've just got to put that over. It's done. It's one game. It's not going to win or lose a league for anybody. So
United have a couple of decent. United have a couple of decent fixtures coming up. I think I want to say Betis on Thursday and Southampton over the weekend.
Two home games, Betis and Southampton. But it isn't. It's not. But we just couldn't hit anything. If you look at the stats of the game, I mean, I think calling it a freak and an anomaly game is fairly accurate because I think Liverpool had 8 shots on target and you scored with 7 of them, which is just as absolutely obscene. I think De Gea made 1 save. That was it in the whole game and everything. And there wasn't a lot. Yeah. Well, no. But the point is that I don't think it was a case of actually a lot of he could do much about any of the goals. I don't think De Gea was at fault for pretty much any of it.
There was some terrible defending going on, like just in general. Yeah. Like say second half, it was like just completely imploded.
It was absolute calamity stuff. I don't quite know what happened, but also how much of a different game it would have been if I don't know Fernandes had got the header on or Rashford had taken and we'd gone 1 up. I think it would have been a completely different game. If you look at the XG goals, which is never a huge great accurate thing, but it gives you a guideline of what's going on. I think Liverpool were 2.5, 2.6, and United were 0.8. Were 0.88, something like that. So there was maybe a couple of goals in it on the expected goals, but certainly not 7. Yeah.
I mean,
I'm not quite sure how you kept a clean sheet. I really do not, see how that happened because I think we had enough chances to probably get one. But at the end of the day, the result is what it is, and we move on.
He's sounding a little sorer than I thought you would be. A little sorer, a little salty there, I think.
Really? No. You're taking that wrong because I'm not in the slightest. Liverpool deserved, that second half performance was absolutely superb. I'm probably not salty as such, but a little bit. It's always a difficult one to take when you listen to the likes of Graham Souness and Carragher after the game and trying to have a sensible conversation about it, and they don't want to have a sensible conversation. Quite rightly too.
I think, and I don't know.
Team's just won 7-0, and they just want to, they want to basically rub your nose in it.
What gets me is the fact that Liverpool are still 7 points behind Man United in the league. So just get a grip of yourselves. Yeah, you've just smacked them, but it doesn't really matter that much in the grand scheme of it, does it? It's like, you've got a bit of bragging rights for a day. Make the most of it because you've been crap all season. They're still going to end up with they've won their cup final today. Is the way I see it, and I'm not even involved in the situation.
Well, it's a funny one, isn't it? So we did 7 today. I don't know how did you feel after the Real Madrid game the other week where they put 5 past you in the second half?
Well, it's probably not a dissimilar situation. I thought we were the better team in the first half, and then I thought they ripped us 1 in the second half. So I suppose it probably seemed very very similar, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
everything Real hit.
Everything went
Real
right
hit
for
that
them. Agreed.
just went bash.
But
Yeah.
the only
but
thing that I'd
difference is-
add, if I can, is that that was a pretty accurate story of Liverpool's season to date. That Real Madrid game, right? Fell away badly in the second half. Maybe they don't concede that many goals that often, but they sort of fell away and a failure to take their chances, blah, blah. So I guess two things happened in this game today. One, Liverpool were just incredible in front of goal. They've just scored everything, right? So that is fortunate, beyond fortunate. You'll take it. But I think the big story of the day is probably, and Neville is right with this, is probably much more about the United collapse. And I think that maybe just shows a bit of immaturity in there. I don't think it necessarily, says anything more than it happened today. But I remember, Liverpool back in 2017-18 when I thought we were playing brilliant football. There were times when we'd be super immature and have really bad anomaly results. So it felt a bit like that to me today. But great to see Liverpool hitting the net because that front three are starting to look more threatening now. And that could be a good thing for Liverpool's run in.
There's one thing that I really picked on, and I don't really like the man as a person, and I don't always like him as a commentator. But one thing that Keane really said is they've come out for the second half. Man United, they're 1-0 down, and they're having a laugh and a joke with the Liverpool staff and with each other and thing. And in a game of such magnitude of that, and the professional sportsman, I probably agree with him that that's not the way to approach it. You're 1-0 down at Anfield. I don't think Ten Hag was particularly impressed with him, with the fact that they'd have done that, and it probably shows a lack of professionalism. Because on another day, they could have quite easily gone in at half time 1-0 up.
Yeah.
I think it massively changed the game, and obviously, we started well, and probably the last 20 minutes until we scored, a couple of minutes before the end of the first half, they were definitely in the ascendancy, and it could have created quite a different storyline if they go in at 1-0. The big change was the second goal. They've come out almost laughing and joking. 2 minutes later, they've considered the second, and the floodgates opened. It was almost like they stopped being interested in the game.
Well, just on Lee's asking the Des about the Real Madrid game and the comparisons. It's different because one's a league game, one's a cup game. The cup game, Liverpool are out basically. Whereas
yes and no.
Man United, whereas Man United for me are like, it's a league. So basically, that's one result in the grand scheme of it. And I understand what you're saying. I agree with you saying it was completely unprofessional the way they just stopped playing football. But for me, like you say, it's a completely different scenario and. Yeah,
well, you don't.
And it's not one you can explain. I mean that's the point. Yeah. You can completely understand Liverpool putting in the performance that they did because Liverpool have got that in them. And for whatever the harder thing to explain, and I've asked Des on many a show over the last couple of months, is what's gone on with Liverpool, and it's so difficult to kind of put a finger on exactly the reason why. Lots of different things, but today they properly turned up, and that midfield, you all of a sudden thought, wow. I mean, Casemiro looked like, completely, didn't know what he was doing in the middle of the park. It was quite insane to watch. It was, but I don't think it also does us any harm because I think sometimes you need a bit of reality check. They were starting to think, oh, we've got one cup. We're going for. People are talking about a quadruple, and not that I ever have because I don't think that's it. I said a couple of weeks ago, if you give me the Carabao Cup now and a top four finish, I'd take that for this season. We're progressing.
Yeah.
We're still years behind. We're probably a year or 2 years behind where Arsenal are in their progression, and I would suggest we're further behind City and Liverpool, even with a blip. If you Liverpool sort that midfield out in this summer transfer window, still got a solid looking squad there.
What I said about Man United was when I was watching it down the pub, it's like there was no leadership there. I don't think Bruno's a captain. He didn't grab his team by the scruff of it and say, "What are you doing?" He was the one. He was at the front of the charge, losing his head.
He was sort of a.
For me, he's not a leader of men.
They didn't show it on the camera, but the comment that was made that when I think the final set of substitutions was being made, he was stood there going, "Why aren't you taking me off?" and I'm glad he got sent out to do the post-match interview as well. Yeah, you can stand there and explain exactly what's just gone on.
But there was nobody on the pitch getting a grip because you've got some very young players in that team, and there was he's meant to be there getting them by the scruff of the neck and saying, "What you doing? We need to reset it." And there was nobody doing that on the pitch. It was just like absolute headless chickens.
But remember, when it was still 2-0 or 3-0, you still had, you had Varane and Martinez at the back there. Shaw and Darlow, decent experienced international players. You had Casemiro and Fred in the middle of the park. I mean, to be honest, that should be a solid foundation. And as I say, since we've come back from the World Cup break, that United squad have looked on it.
Yeah.
Only lost to Arsenal. In 22 games or something like that.
But
they've absolutely looked on it.
But my point is, like, basically in that moment they needed a leader, and I'm not sure that Bruno's someone who's going to, grab some people and say, "What you doing?" And just like Casemiro and just like kind of drag them back into the game. He doesn't strike me as a leader of men in that response, in that like kind of respect. He's like, he might be one that leads by example when things are going well, but there he was losing his head with the rest of them.
Yeah, you're listening. It's really interesting. Bunch of people out there. So let's give a few name checks if we can. So Run Like a God on Twitch. Who's Run Like a God, guys? Do we know Run Like a God?
It's not me looking at this.
Let's go. Are you guys watching the final day on final day? What final day of what's happening out there, guys? Anybody know?
The UK Open in Coventry, probably.
Is that what it is? We're not watching it, unfortunately. But keep us up to date if you know who's in the final table.
Yeah, but the trouble is that's only what $1 million guaranteed comp, isn't it? I mean, it's not like this high stakes cash game going on here. I mean, this is like
anything above 20 quid isn't in our sweet spot.
Richard Trigger's just gone out in 6. I think Brammer was first out on the final table.
Wow. Okay, sounds like a good final.
With 300.
And is it a bit of a who's who of the UK poker scene, Dan? Is it?
Well, it was and it isn't, because actually it's not huge names on there now. As I said, it was Brammer and Trigg with the big names going into the final, and they're both out in 8th and 6th.
Okay,
there's going to be maybe some emerging names into the UK poker.
Well, listen,
scene.
talking about emerging. Sorry, Stu. Talking of emerging names, one Mr. McGrath. Evening all, evening to you. Asa, I wonder what crazy football stats I could find tonight. Leigh. Yeah, we won't go there. The lovely Joe is there. Evening, chaps. Good to see Joe. Last weekend. Simon says, Liverpool 32, Man United 3, last 10 Premier League matches at Anfield. What is that, points? I assume it's points. It seems
No, that'll be goals.
Oh, is it
That's
goals?
If we've scored points in 10 games, you're doing really well. Averaging 3.
We've scored one goal. We've scored one goal in our last
7 or 8 years. Yeah,
eight visits.
Yeah,
Lingard scored it.
2 out of 21 games out your last 21 visits to Anfield.
But in fairness,
it's just insane.
In fairness, Liverpool purple patch during that period, United on a down patch. Things are changing. Simon says Man United 13, Liverpool 1 on titles. I assume he's talking about Premier League titles. Simon says, has one of you got a carbon monoxide detector?
No. They're the only ones that count, Des. Premier League titles are the only ones that count. You know that, don't you? Yeah,
because football didn't exist until the mid-90s.
Yeah, because you lot have all just celebrated Salah being your top goal scorer in the Premier League now. So apparently before then doesn't actually count for anything.
Not a thing. I didn't celebrate that one much. Although it was nice to see him banging in a couple tonight, I have to say.
So I should say, Ace's comment is not necessarily about the football today. So last week, and we'll talk a bit more about the team championship later on.
Yeah.
But so last week we were, and Dan will reminisce about this, because we had Asa did a bit of an impromptu football quiz thing for a few of us that were sat around waiting for one of the side events to finish. Similar, Dan, to what we did after the World Champs. When we were sat around doing quizzes and things, and he was doing a football quiz based on Haaland's stats.
Okay.
And lots of different things he came out with, but he all sorts of different things. But he came up with one which was it was there's only one British team that has 100% record against Barcelona in Europe, and they've played 4-1-4.
Really?
Yeah.
I want to go for someone ridiculous like Spurs.
Or
no,
worse.
No, it's not.
It'll be.
Is it Spurs? No. I've got to make sure I remember I get this right. Hopefully Ace is in the chat and will be able to back me up on making sure I get the right answer to this. But it was that kind of stuff going on for most of the night. So no.
It's not going to be like Newcastle or someone annoying, is it?
Wow.
No, it's not Newcastle. No.
Thank Christ.
Listen,
in Europe.
Talking very briefly about Newcastle, they are in a bit of free fall, aren't they? Quietly.
Yes, thank Christ.
You know, they are a little bit. It's a bit worrying. Who is it, Leigh?
Well, if my memory serves me right, it's I want to say Birmingham City.
What? Simon is asking a Welsh team. Well, Birmingham isn't typically Welsh. I mean, they're less Welsh than Pontefract, for example, but nonetheless. No.
I did see an interesting trivia the other team. There's only 2 non-English teams to have won the FA Cup. Who are they?
Cardiff is one.
Well, that's
who's the other one? Swansea have never done it, have they? Or Wrexham. So
if you've watched Twin Town, you'll know that Swansea have never won the FA Cup.
Yeah.
Newport County.
It doesn't go back to something like Royal Engineers or something like that, which don't count as being English or something like that, is it?
So they are a team that is still playing.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know about Royal Engineers.
No, I'm sure they would count as being English. So yeah.
I think the first FA Cup was between the old Etonians and the old Carthusians.
Oh, are they from Romania? The old Carthusians.
Well, no, actually, it might be won by Wanderers. Just Wanderers. I don't know. I used to know. But yeah.
Ace is saying Queen's Park.
I think that was in like 1860, but before it was. There's a question about when it was actually recognised as
slightly after last time Newcastle won a cup. You know, incidentally.
So Leigh, I think Ace is saying Dundee United.
Oh, Dundee United.
They're the ones that have been Barcelona 4 times? 4 times?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Bloody hell. I assume that's 2 home and aways.
I think Birmingham City was the answer to another one of the questions on that night. So yeah, it was lots of things about also obviously Haaland is the first, is the quickest player to get to certain goals, and who else has got done similar and that kind of thing. So it's good fun on at Dusseldorf last weekend.
Surprised Paul Haycock doesn't get involved in these quizzes.
No, he's not really a quiz guy, Dan. To be honest, it's not really his thing. Do you know what I mean?
He's busy cleaning up in this cash game.
I thought we were going to get a live one going at some point.
We will do. We definitely will do. That is for sure. That is definitely going to be the case. But yeah, so
Tom Hanks movies, please.
Yeah. So obviously, other game today. Forest picking up a decent point in the end against Everton.
2-2, right?
I mean, are we saying Everton?
Yeah.
They're not too good to go down.
No,
are
they're
they?
not.
No, they're really not, are they?
They're in a lot of trouble.
But there's a lot of teams down there in the mix, right? That's about your only consolation point. You're not, they're not in any way cast adrift at this point. Two wins in a row, and suddenly you're out of it for at least a couple of weeks.
But if you can't beat Forest, where are you getting your wins?
Yeah, I'm with you. If I was an Everton fan, I'd be seriously worried. Seriously worried.
But it's now the bottom. Is it the bottom 6 are covered by 3 points or something like that? Is it? Or you can go right up to 12th. Crystal Palace in 12th, and there's 6 points cover 12th to 20th, something like that. It's just absolutely ridiculous. You cannot afford to go on a really poor run, because if teams around you pick up a few points, all of a sudden you're adrift before you know what's going on. And obviously we're now down to 13, 14 games left, something like that.
Honestly, it's like the bottom half of the Premier League's turned into the Championship. It's great. It's what we've got to put up with all the time. It's absolutely fantastic.
I was thinking a question today for you, Stu. So obviously, the top of the Championship, obviously yourselves are there, Sheffield United there, and Burnley. How many teams? I mean, Burnley are flying, aren't they? So let's use Burnley as an example. How many teams, squads in the Premiership do you think this current Burnley squad are better than?
I don't know. I wouldn't say it's better than something. It's basically they're probably a match for the bottom 6 to 8 teams in the league.
You reckon, really, without needing to add?
Probably. I mean, I don't think that the bottom half of the Premier League's got that much quality to it, to be honest with you. I think the coaching and the tactics in general in the Premier League are...
I think without adding, they finish bottom.
I don't agree with that because there's always some Premier League teams that stink the living daylights out of it. Like, Company's a lot better tactically, and he'll have them playing better football than the likes of Everton. I think the coaching type of thing with some people like Carrick and Company is going to take a lot of people by surprise, and that's going to make up a lot for the perceived lack of quality. I don't think the quality is that much different.
I think playing in the Championship is a completely different ball game without people with Premier League experience.
Have you lulled yourself? Agree with Dan. Have you lulled yourself into that false sense of security, Stu, that a good Championship season generally means that you can repeat that in the Premier League? Because there aren't too many teams that do that.
No, I've seen teams like Borough last year playing under Chris Wilder managed to beat like Tottenham in the cup and people like that, and it's like
it's only a cup game, Leigh. Stu, it's only a cup game.
I mean, look.
Completely different.
Look at Norwich and the amount of times they've absolutely excelled in the Championship, got up and then just finished rock bottom every single time.
Yeah, but again, I think that the kind of standard of coaching in the Championship is changing.
Yeah,
which is going to be a big difference. Usually, it's people you go up there with your likes of Chris Wilder with Sheffield United, and they just stick to their rigid tactics and they haven't coached their teams. Whereas the people like Company's done a fantastic job with Burnley and the football. He's managed to get them playing from the same team that Sean Dyche had. Basically, it's petrified, and like I say, Carrick's the same with us. And that's going to start making. Honestly, I think the Premier League teams are going to start seeing a big difference in the standard of teams coming up if they're getting coached by these young up and coming coaches.
Yeah. But I can't see Everton getting out. I mean, technically, Everton are they are bottom.
Well, they got to get out of it. I can't see them going down. It would just be too big a story. I mean, with that new stadium and everything, it would just be the worst thing ever to go down.
How much money will he have pumped into that club by the time the stadium's built and everything? I mean, it's serious money, isn't it? To then have a club that potentially are either in a relegation battle all the time or actually worse are in the Championship.
Yeah, and I think that's the difference. If you're the likes of Bournemouth, well, if you go down, if you look at your wage bill and you look at your spending, then you say, well, we sort of expected it. Ironically, there's another one. You might have seen this in the recent days. So the lowest paid Premier in the Premier League, well, the lowest three all play for Bournemouth. But do you know what the lowest wage in the Premier League is? I was shocked.
No idea.
I was shocked.
2 or 3 million?
And it's weekly wage, and it's somebody who plays and has started over 50% of the games for Bournemouth this year.
30,000.
It's got to be like 40 grand or something.
Because there's some players in the Championship earning big cash.
Well, this is my
30?
thing. There were players in League One, winning decent money.
Yeah.
So the lowest paid player in the Premier League is on £375 a week.
What?
But you're talking about juniors coming up through the academy.
Well, he's 20.
Yeah. How much?
Pardon?
£375 a week.
He's earning less money than me.
And he's playing, generally speaking, in half of their games.
Yeah.
That's outrageous.
I'll tell you who it is in a second.
Wow.
If you Google it, it comes up with the top. If you Google lowest paid, it'll come up with the top 5, and 3 of them. There's 3 players for Bournemouth under £1,000 a week.
That's right. Just on the on subject of the thing about coaches in the Premier League, though, you got to look at Cooper at Forest, who has done a fantastic job with them after a slow start. I know they spent money, but he still had to coach that team and get them playing a brand of football that's got them up into mid-table. And I think that shows that that's the kind of coach you're going to have coming through now, as opposed to just your Sam Allardyce, Sean Dyche, Neil Warnock, people like that. There's going to be actual coaches coming in who are better coaches than what we have than what is in the Premier League at the minute.
Yeah, massively. Well, speaking of coaches, you must have all seen the story about the guy who's getting fined 22 grand a game.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yes.
I think he's the coach of Reims.
Yeah, Reims. Yeah.
He doesn't have his license, right?
He hasn't got his license, but he's going on such a rampage that they're like.
He was really good in Football Manager. It gives me like. Some
Well,
hope.
he's got all his
Wow.
experience of Football Manager. Is it Will still?
Yeah, Will still. Yeah. Honestly, that gives me hope because I've been smashing that game with my 2 weeks off.
It's not too late, Stu. It's not too late. Once Carrick is done, I mean, hang around outside the group. You might get into the training squad or, the coaching squad for the the under 18s or something and work your way up. Just hang around outside. Either get a job or a sentence. One of the two.
Yeah, very true.
So listen,
I
a bunch of people.
Which one it would be.
I know which one it would be. A bunch of people still out there. So Simon has said Queen's Park might be in the Scottish Premier next season. Wow. Birmingham City were in fact the first British team to reach a European final. Wow.
That was that question. There we go.
Queen's
Yeah,
Park
there
with the
you
other
go.
teams
Yeah.
who have won the FA Cup.
Okay. Wow.
Yes. Simon said, is that the Forest unbeaten at home since September? So, wow, if Forest are unbeaten at home since September. No surprise that Everton couldn't get all of the points today. Mr. Haycock is there, happy to be humiliated again anytime, champ. Right, so is he referring to the quiz? I think he is. I think he's referring to the old quiz.
Yes.
One of the old quizzes that we had,
Yes,
right?
he
Which
will
was
be.
a lot of
Yeah.
fun. A lot of fun.
I don't think he was humiliated, but he did say one of the funniest comments that I'd heard in a long time.
What did he say? What did he say?
We can't-
Embarrass him again. Come on.
Can't be
No.
repeated.
Can't repeat it.
No,
Okay.
we can't repeat it because it may.
It's
may
just not
cause,
fair.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah, it
it'll
would
be on
right.
our Patreon channel, everyone. Yeah. Asa says, I can't. Can we take him seriously here? He says, I'm genuinely worried about City's FA Cup quarter-final against Burnley. So I think from memory, City are at home. They'll want to win that because
Really?
City want to win cup games. Can't be really worried about. I mean, that's
okay.
a good time,
You got
right?
you. To be fair, Burnley, it's a free shot for Burnley, isn't it?
Yeah,
Basically,
nothing to lose.
You're going to rock up at the Etihad, and depending on what side he puts out, you can give it. You got no harm whatsoever. No, if you get battered, everyone's going to go, well, yeah, you're playing Man City, so no big deal. So. I'd just have a go at it, isn't it? I mean, that's pretty much what Liverpool did today. I mean, they just, they shot to nothing, and it went all right for them.
It was their cup final, really.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
Bloody cheek. Can't believe it. Tony G is there, right? Tony G is in, waving his arms around.
Our very own Tony G.
Our very own Tony G. Evening all. So obviously London. Leigh, I don't know if you know this. We're in London towards the end of the month. Tony G says, apologies if I've missed it. Just dropped in. APAT London. Is it buying with cash at Aspers only, or can you pre-reg anywhere? Leigh, give him the good news.
It is buying with cash at the casino, and we are still working on, I believe, because I don't think it's actually been confirmed yet, unless you know something I don't, Des.
What's not been confirmed yet?
As to whether there will be
a second
an
option.
Yeah, a second option. It's they're working on it. So obviously everybody knows that we're partnered up with Lux on Pay, and Lux on Pay have to do the deals with the venues so that they can allow them to to be used. So we're trying to make that happen. Whether it'll be in time for the APAT event or not, we're not quite sure. But we are trying our damnedest to make it happen.
I do very much doubt there's anything that Des knows that you don't, to be honest with you.
That is very true. I have to say, I can, I can confirm that. But if there was anything, I wouldn't necessarily know it. But Leigh might, if you catch my drift. So Simon at $2,000 per week, and Tony at $1,000 a week. Referring back to that player, 350 quid. You're having a giraffe. He needs a new agent. That player, and you'd have to say he's playing 50% of the games in the Premier League. He's on 300 quid a week. He doesn't need a new agent. I mean, what's going on? Tony went on to say, I know Dwight McNeil was on that same amount when he first broke into Burnley, which was his youth team wage, and the club were slow in getting back to his agent. Maybe.
Jordan
Maybe there's a bit of that.
Zamora, I think it is.
What's his name?
Jordan Zamora.
Oh, Bobby's brother.
Jordan Zamora is on £385 a week. Jaden Anthony for Bournemouth is on $769, and so is Gavin Kilkenny on $769.
Wow.
So how does this information get out, Dan?
I don't know. There's also Newcastle have got a player under £1,000 a week, Sean Longstaff.
No.
No.
The Longstaffs have
No
been there
way.
for 3 or 4 years now.
Sean
haven't they?
Longstaff is on £962 a week.
I'm not buying it.
No,
You'd
United,
be
because
fucking
Man United
furious.
was Man United was supposed to be after him. There's no way is he on
But
that.
players like that might be on appearance fees though. So if they actually play a first team game, they're bumped up to like $5,000 in that week, or they score a goal, they get another $5,000. I mean, who knows? But it just seems
I tell you
unlikely.
one that really, really did shock me was Brennan Johnson at Foresters only on $2,000 a week.
Wow.
He's a Welsh international.
I mean, Tom Brady's on two grand a day at APAT. I mean, how the hell? How the hell can
how does that
that's
work?
just
Yeah,
outrageous. Paul says bothers me.
It sounds like
Hang
a
on,
tax. It
hang
sounds like a
on,
tax.
hang on.
It sounds like a tax.
I want to
dodge,
know
yeah.
when Tom took a huge pay cut.
I was going to say. Getting paid more than that in the NFL. I'll tell you that much for nothing.
Oh, don't go there. So Paul says, bothers me when people say footballers are on millions. Most people outside the top 2 divisions have to work after retiring. I'm on more than most of the team I watch. To be honest, I could buy that. I could definitely buy that Paul is. Yeah, top pro guy there. But yeah, I think if you're outside of the top 2 divisions, you probably
That
are
is
on.
that is a thin brag, isn't it? Really, that is a thin.
So I
brag.
said, get it
Yeah.
quietly.
Well played. Very subtle. As Mr. Ward says, get it quietly, FFS man.
So whilst we're talking about not tax dodges or anything like that, but something I've noticed watching TV, a lot of TV series and stuff lately, the amount of actors and actresses that are in stuff that are also exec producers on shows these days. Is that a sort of a get around so they don't have to pay their acting commission, fees? Because they're a producer as well, and they earn some of the money from doing that. Because I can't believe they're all actually doing. I can't believe they all do anything as an exec producer. Or am I missing something? Or am I the only one that actually notices this kind of stuff?
Sorry, I was too busy just giving out.
I assume they're taking. It's like an extra role, right? They get an extra bump.
What you tend to have if people who are established in shows, when the producer sort of wants to give up, they just take over producing the show a lot of the time. So
yeah, okay.
Simon wants to know, on a more serious note, will Luxon be available for the Blackpool APAT? Well, that seems a little bit off, so we'll be working on that. Are you saying it's done?
No, it's exactly the same situation whereby we're trying to get them in to do the necessary deal with Grosvenor, and if not, we're going to we'll see if we can get something arranged with Grosvenor to make that happen, because we're at Blackpool and Edinburgh this year. So, what's going on here? What's going on here?
Apparently, Owston's on $40 when he said he was leaking money everywhere. Who gave him that, by the way?
Come on, Leigh.
What's going on here?
Leigh, you want to raise it up, Leigh? I know you've got decent cards here. Let it.
I tried that and he just turned the flush.
Whack it in, Leigh. You'll probably see me fold.
There you go then. All right. Okay. Based on that, that's what we'll do then.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
It feels like a slight tell.
What do you reckon? He's got a jack here, Stu.
I've got Leigh, probably.
Haycock doesn't know what to
He
do
can't
now.
fold
No, he's
either.
confused.
Get out the way.
Oh, he's let it go. Go on, show the bluff.
I think Owston lied to you.
Yeah, well.
Oh, I think he was using the power of the broadcast to try and talk Paul into a call there.
Well, he's got all his money back.
Oh, look at those jacks. Look at those jacks.
Unlucky.
That is outrageous.
Oh,
that is
sweet.
sick.
Jesus.
Told you. Come along for the free money.
That's absolutely disgusting, Dan.
Kyle!
Hey, if you're gonna put it in with just top set and no back doors, what you expected?
Oh dear. I'm expecting runner is what I'm expecting. Yeah.
Oh dear. I saw the tank I looked at his odds thing, it was like, didn't go down. I was like, that looks ominous.
I was really shocked. I was really shocked when it offered me $5.29 as a cash out. I thought that's quite generous because I'm looking pretty dead in the water. But
can we kick Dan out of this game, please? It's no fun anymore.
We're not here to cash out. I'll stop when I get to 100.
Oh, cheers, pal.
Stop what?
So I'll be out of the game in about 12 minutes.
You're not going anywhere. Yeah.
Leigh is in a hole, and you are going to drag him out of it.
You are locked in, my
Is that
friend.
the second time? Were you the first one that dueled it as well, Leigh, by any chance?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, I thought as much.
Yeah. Boat over boat was the first one. He had the better of it all along.
Just
to be
shoveling
honest.
chips, shoveling money down his throat. There you go. Go on. He's on more money than that lad at fucking Bournemouth at the minute.
Apparently, that's
in a 5-cent chance again. That's quite impressive.
Yeah.
Oh dear, Dan, you're getting rubbed in the chat box here. So that's how you win World Amateur titles. Indeed. Indeed.
I'm
Dan's
getting
out of the way.
very
Can
well
we just see
deservedly
some
rubbed
props and
after
stuff,
watching
please?
that,
Everyone be
to
nice.
honest with you. But I would like to say titles is probably a bit rich. We're still on singular.
Oh, you've won a bunch of team ones as well, haven't you?
Yeah, but only because I've had good teammates.
Well, talking about team, Des, let's wrap up what happened last weekend. Just to give a shout out to those guys that did well.
If someone could tell me.
Oh, Leigh, do you want me to play the 2-minute sort of video of when we find the winner and you talk to Rab and co?
Yeah, if you've got
should we do that?
Yeah,
let me roll this. It takes about 2 minutes, guys. Enjoy.
And a warm welcome back to Dusk Till Dawn, where we have a sort of conclusion to the APAT Team Championship for 2023. Our top 3 positions are concluded. Scott Squad have done the title again, finishing in first place ahead of Bishop's Cleeve Bar 9 and LV22. They were the 2 teams that brought back 7 players today. Scott Squad, well, their 5 went very, very deep. 3 of them still in with 23 players remaining in that, and it's now secure. They can't be beaten for the gold medal position. Bishop's Cleeve Bar 9, well, they're going to pick up the silver medal position, and LV22 are going to pick up the bronze. That means 4th and 5th, they're already done as well. Leigh Barrett's team, LBPN, finished 4th. North Tyneside Poker are going to finish 5th, but there's a little bit of a battle going on for this 6th and 7th place finishes. Carterton Poker Club have got 1 player left in. Froome Poker Group have got 1 player left in. They're both still there going. London Poker Meetup are all done, all in the clubhouse with 254 points. If these players from Carterton or Froome go in the next sort of 10 exits, London Poker Meter are going to sneak into the cash and pick up a little bit of money, so that'll be absolutely fantastic. Let's see if we can walk in the room. I can see Rab, the captain of the Scott Squad team. We'll see if we can have a little chat with him. Let's see if we can get down there and have a talk. Rab, you're going to have a word. Come on, you're going to come and have a word. I've got a couple of the victorious Scott Squad. You just found out that you won. It was all kind of like, is it done? Is it really done? What's going on? How are you feeling?
Brilliant. That's twice we've won it and been third, so we're happy.
And we're joined by Duffy as well, part of the team. So,
the drinks mule.
So shout out to the team players that are still in.
Well, we've got Nick, George and Donald who are still in.
Nicky and Don.
So they're going for the rain.
But 5 of you made day 2 and all went super, super deep, yeah?
It did, yeah. Yeah, I think the 4th player only went out a couple of players ago. And the 5th player, he went out. He shouldn't have went out.
That stack,
I know, exactly. But now he's relieved.
Come on, let him explain himself.
Right, the maid and pocket queens against Ace King, and yeah, they were there.
we watched the hand on the stream. It was a painful one to watch, to say the least. It was painful to say. But so this is the second time you guys have done. So how many of the team won it first time round?
2.
Okay, so you've had a bit of a change around with the squad, yeah?
Aye, we've had a wee change around. Some other ones have got bronze medals for the third when we came third, and now that's us another
and then
goal.
he decided it needed some boobs on the team, so that's how I'm here.
And as for the weekend as a whole, I know, obviously, it's an APAT team event, so we know how much everyone wants to play, but you've enjoyed the weekend?
Well, you've seen us going to boot pissed all weekend, so I think you know what we have.
We actually took over the whole bar area last night. We had 40 chairs round 2 tables. It was amazing.
Aye.
No, it's as always, and to you guys, you've created this culture that everybody's welcome, and we just basically took that on board last night, and we had locals drinking with us. It was just brilliant. It was absolutely fantastic.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, of course, you still got 3 in. They're now playing for a little bit of individual money as well. So good luck to them. I suppose you'll rail them right to the conclusion, yeah?
Oh, aye, of course.
No, they're going to be at the bar, folks. They're going to be at the bar. Let's not pretend they're going. Yeah, they beat at the rail. Now it's done. It's off to the bar. Excellent. Well done, guys. Enjoy your celebrations anyway. Much appreciated. So there we go. So that's 3 of the Scott squad guys. They picked up the gold medal and a whopping £8,000. That's £1,000 per player for that. So absolutely superb. This is going to play down to a conclusion. We'll keep you posted on that on the Facebook group. Up over in the far side there, we've got the PLO side event and a No Limit Hold'em side event with stacks of players playing in that as well. So from dusk till dawn for the moment, we'll catch you soon.
Absolutely brilliant. Great atmosphere, I thought, across the weekend, Leigh.
Yeah, obviously apologies for the shouting. It's it gets noisy in that card room, doesn't it?
If you looked over your shoulder when you first sat over, you could see me asleep on the sofas.
Yeah, that really? you were asleep. For quite a length of time, actually. That's fine.
I'll call you again, Owston.
Yeah, but absolutely a great weekend. 45 teams, 360 runners in the main event for the team, and it went right down. What I mentioned there about the playing for 6th and 7th place, it ended up that Froome lost their player, and so London Poker Meet snuck into the 7th place. Carterton Poker, it was actually John Young who was the one player remaining for their skipper, and he went very deep in the individual as well in the end. So there he is, picking up his silver medal for finishing in 2nd place. So that meant London Poker Meet, who stayed and railed right to the end on the chance that they might get a bit of money. Picked up a mint cash, but absolutely high-fiving each other at the end of it to have got in the cash. So there's the Scott squad.
To be fair to them, it takes some epic poker ability to carry Duffy through a poker event.
No, she has boobs. Apparently, that's the key qualifying thing.
All? I mean,
as per Duffy
like
herself. Was she part of the Scott squad team that won it before? I don't think so.
No, I don't think she was.
Rav said there was only two.
I think he came back to me afterwards and said he'd realised there were 3. So I think it was 3 of them in the end that were there. So, but to be honest, any team that does that, we were very fortunate that it was the APAT show last year that picked up the win, and this year the Scott squad to have done it twice in about 4 or 5 years. I think
it's incredible.
Is incredible to do it. It's such a difficult one to win. The guys that were runners up are new to the team event as well, so I'm sure they'll be back again to try and defend the title. And I know that when we put this event on in a year's time, there'll be at least 45 teams wanting to get in. They're probably more trying to get to that event. We just basically don't have a venue big enough to do it. And you see with some of the photos there, you can see that huge new screen at Dusk Till Dawn behind the players there, the green with the APAT logo on it.
Fantastic.
Such an impressive setup that they're going to have for their live streaming at Dusk Till Dawn.
And Leigh, the PLO was a great success as well. Obviously, there's your winner, very popular Ian Thompson in 2nd. That seemed to work really well on the Sunday,
by the way.
Yeah, I think having a medal event on the Sunday as a one-dayer and it being at Omaha, and that's going to continue throughout the season. So we'll with a number of different variants in there as well. Maybe occasionally a round of each as well, just to mix it up. But basically, to be able to go on turn up on a Sunday and play for some medals in a one-day comp, I think is a great addition and seemed to be well received by the players.
And I don't think you'll ever fail to get plenty of runners in an Omaha event. I got to be honest.
Yeah, it was maxed out, Dan, and say really good. I mean, we had people coming out just before we even started saying how great the structure looked for a one-day comp. So hopefully, say everyone enjoyed it, and that the plan is that we'll be doing those at all of the stops this year on the Sunday. So if you bust the main event, you can have a go for a medal in some Omaha.
Sunday, I thought it was a better effort to just go to Five Guys and then crawl back up the M1.
That's fair. Was that Five Guys for breakfast, effectively, Stu? Yeah,
it was that same like last year when we were there about 12:30, and me and my brother had raging hangers, and Des was there like perky as you like, chatting our ear off while we were trying to die.
Five Guys, Stu. Don't you call that a good Friday night?
Oh, steady on, please.
Sunday morning,
Oh dear.
I've still never
win a pot, please. Thank you, Paul.
Oh, I wish I'd have stayed in that hand.
I bet you do.
Runner nuts would have been perfect.
That doesn't sound like you.
What's this Paul limping in under the gun? It's
the limp re-raise.
Yeah,
Why is Dan just not letting us play family pots? Just go away, mate.
But you can play.
Is Dan even playing? Dan doesn't seem to play anything here. I've noticed.
I'm not actually playing. I've paid somebody who can play the game to sit in my seat.
Is that what's actually happening? Is it? Right?
You got Roger sat next to you, just clicking buttons while you pretend you're playing. It's like just drag him out the cupboard.
Oh, seriously, this is the trouble, Des, with Omaha. Is the pots can get out of hand quite quickly here.
Oh, I can see it, Lee.
I wish I'd played. I'd have flopped the nuts. Marvelous.
I'd have won that hand.
I had 7-8.
Yeah, I had king queen.
Oh yeah, you probably would have won by the end of the year.
It would.
Oh, no,
It would have been a boat.
Oh, you had a look, did you?
Yeah.
Oh,
Has anybody actually seen Dan Williams? Has anyone seen Dan Williams actually play a hand?
He's managed to blind himself down by $4.44. So
Is he not sleeping?
Could be almost anywhere, Lee. Could be almost anywhere.
Yeah. I'm feeling confident. I was feeling confident about
I was
this
just
one.
going to give you some money back as well.
And you're not going to get involved now. Now Haycock's done that. Are you?
when do I get to withdraw from this ATM? It's not fair.
Mr. Bean is out there, guys. No jokes. Chris, the highlight for me was an old bloke who was sat on my right and was playing in his first ever casino tournament. The night previous, he was playing cash and was selected for the big wheel. He rolled in 500 quid. Very nice. Very nice
indeed.
And it was good to see Chris and have a chat with him over the weekend as well.
Yeah, I ended up spending half a day sat next to John Murray. So,
John?
Yeah.
John Murray? I didn't see him. Was he there?
Yes, he was sat next to me. Des.
Are you sure it was John Murray?
Oh, I am very, very sure it was John Murray.
No, I didn't see John Murray at all. I'd love to have said hello to John. Christ, no idea how I missed him.
No, I didn't see him at all either. So
I was actually devastated to miss it, and so I bet not because of work on Monday, which I subsequently went and quit on Monday. So I may as well have just turned up.
Oh, that's the way to go.
But you're nothing if not conscientious and professional, Dan.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so
But I attempted to be, which didn't go so well, to be honest.
didn't go okay. So
just remember, Dan. Right, let me put this on. Here we go. People die every day, Dan. Mopping floors and washing dishes. Right, things are not too bad, Dan. Keep it going. I think we're gonna have a Morgan Freeman inspirational night. What do you reckon?
All I would say, Dan, is I wouldn't go and play for Bournemouth. Apparently, they don't pay very well. So, yeah. If you're looking for a new job,
But coaching, maybe.
coaching could be the future. Yeah, absolutely.
Can you imagine Dan being a football coach?
No.
And what do you mean by that, Mr. Ward?
No.
Well, I can imagine you being a footballing coach, and it makes me giggle. But,
Who's searching for Pokemon?
what?
Mr. Lawler said he's searching for
Dan-
Pokemon.
Dan Williams. Have you not seen him all? He's forever
out now.
on Facebook. He's forever on Facebook looking for, I don't know what he's looking for, but it's requesting
I haven't
stuff,
seen any of that.
Yeah, he's sat out now anyway, so.
Yeah. Maybe he's forgot about the game.
There is a seat available if somebody wants to come and take the free money. It's a very soft game.
For one of us.
That's harsh.
Very harsh.
No, I'm on about take the $72.
I'll see another one.
Oh, right. Okay, right, yeah.
Frank's there, guys. Good to see you, Frank. He said John played for Blonde Poker. Did not see John over the weekend. I'm sure I took Blonde Poker's picture.
Chill out.
How weird. How weird.
I haven't even bet pot there. I mean,
You two need to over yourselves. I've had enough of this. These big whales with deep pockets splashing about the place. So
Go on, Lee. Oh, hello. Quite the
Hello,
pot here, guys.
What the 5 that changes nothing, and Paul's sat there with the nuts. Sorry, I didn't say that.
No, but he is.
If anyone,
Well, you fault this. Oh, what? I'm reporting this hand to Party Poker. There is absolute collusion.
Oh, wow. The pain. I feel your pain, Leigh.
I had 3 pair. And
Didn't
the
work
5
out.
is not what I wanted to see. The 5 is not what I wanted to see. No.
you better hope for the end of the show, Leigh. Otherwise, you're going to fund the Bournemouth players' wages for the week.
The trouble is actually I don't even want. If I hit a flop, it doesn't work out. So it's not quite sure what the best thing is to do.
Do I let Stuart win a pot? No.
You're allowed to fold, Dan.
I could.
Please.
So John Murray turned up late then.
Yeah, he turned up late. Apparently.
yeah,
that would
So
explain it.
that would explain it. Yeah, and you just saw that.
And he secreted himself into the 360 players, and we just lost him. We lost track of him from there.
I found him.
To be honest, when that card room's full, and just say they currently only have 37 tables in Dusseldorf, and say we are filling all bar one of those on Saturday afternoon.
To be fair, right?
Pretty busy.
I enjoyed that because Borough lost 2-0 to West Brom, and Jay Leigh was looking for me for at least 3 hours.
Couldn't find you.
No, it was great.
Fantastic. Well played, sir.
Borough won 5-0 yesterday, which was quite nice. I was at the game. Tubrack.
Do you think you're gonna hunt down Sheffield United for that second place? Do you think it's doable or not?
I thought it was until last week where we lost to West Brom and they went back to 7 points ahead, and then all of a sudden they lost to Blackburn and shit the bed again. So it's like it just feels like they're going to keep on. They've got some really tough games coming up, and we've got some fairly easy ones. So we bounced back from the 2 defeat and won 5-0 against Reading, which was fantastic.
Do you think top 2 is that what you're aiming for, Stu? Can you take that second spot?
That's what we've got to aim for. I think we're pretty much locked in for top 6. So
yeah,
we basically now we just have to keep putting the pressure on Sheffield United and see if they crack. And they've shown.
Do you think their cup run has an impact on what they're doing in the league? Because obviously they're a huge result.
I hope so.
during the week, does that impact on it?
They've only won like 2 of the last 6 league games, I think. And like I say, we all we're doing now is playing league game, and they've got they're playing Spurs, I think next is it. And
they just beat Spurs, didn't they?
But he says, just keep on playing cup games. I don't care.
Blackpool.
Get the final for all you want. I mean,
they got Blackpool, haven't they, in the quarters?
No, it's Blackburn, isn't it?
Is
so
it
one of the
Blackburn?
two. So one of those two is going to be in the semi-finals. Yeah,
Amazing.
Yeah, which is great for us. I mean, just keep playing, and we'll just keep on winning games. And they're looking a little bit fragile. So we're just going to keep the pressure on. We've come from, like I said, we've come from 22nd in the league to be pushing them for top 2. So I think we're locked in for playoffs pretty much now. I think not mathematically, but I think just the way we're playing. And if we can get top 2, then that's even better. So we're on like a free hit at the minute.
I know it's not a sport that we usually discuss on here, but has any been watching the darts this evening?
No,
I haven't. I saw the draw for the semi-finals. There's who's the guy that the complete nobody who was in the semi-finals?
Richie Burnett.
What? Richie Burnett was in the semi-finals?
No, he's in the quarters. Andrew Gilding.
Andrew Gilding, that's the one. Yeah,
so he's just won it.
What?
He's just beat Van Gogh in the final.
Not a chance.
wow.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Wow. I tell you what I have watched a bit of that I'm not a huge golf watcher, but I did watch that golf documentary or drama, documentary on Netflix, right? I can't remember what it's called now, Pro Swing or something like that, but Full Swing maybe, but fantastic. It was absolutely brilliant to get to know some of the golfers a bit better. But that sort of stuff, Formula One, it's been huge for Formula One with Drive to Survive. The golf version is superb. There's a tennis version as well, which is also very interesting. I mean, that deep look into sports and the characters can really encourage you to go and watch some of the live action.
Is it do you get a decent insight into kind of golfing live? I've seen it on Netflix. I've not watched it yet, but I was gonna.
Yeah, I was very impressed with Leigh. You know, one of the biggest things in sports, particularly for live sports, is it seems to it matters more when you know the characters involved.
Unbelievable.
Oh, what's happened there? What has happened? Oh, Leigh.
What's happened is
Didn't work out.
is what's been happening all night, Des. There's
a lot of money at this table, and you haven't got any of it, Leigh.
Lee's providing it. Lee's like Leigh.
Flop the nuts and lose. That seems to be the way it goes.
Leigh can get money into any country you want, right, Leigh?
Yes. Oh yes, not a problem. We can do that.
Oh dear. But yeah, great show. It gives you just an in-depth view of the characters, and that makes the sport more interesting. Particularly the golf, it focused on a lot of rookies and stuff like that, so it was pretty
cool.
interesting.
I will
recommend.
Definitely check it out then. Yeah, definitely check it out. I'm getting some amazing high-low starting hands here. Yeah, this doesn't look good for me, Des. But to be honest, I think I'm playing. I'm playing really, really well. It's. I mean, as Simon Lawler says, it's the nuts with no redraw. But I mean, I shouldn't need a redraw because I should be good all the time. I don't understand. It's if I'm ahead, I mean, they can't always keep catching me up. It's got to hold at some point, surely. What are you going to do? Are you going to fold the nuts on the flop because you haven't got a redraw? Of course you're not.
Get him in, Leigh. Get him in. Formula One started today, guys. I don't know if either of you.
Is it Bahrain?
Yeah,
Bahrain.
Okay. Yeah, pretty uninspirational starting track though. The old late night Australian Grand Prix was always, I think, the one that got us away for Formula One. Sad to see that's moved back to, I think, the third race of the season.
I mean, I say I didn't think much of the last season. I didn't feel it was that hugely competitive in any way because it was a runaway thing. So from a spectator point of view, unless you're really into your Formula One, it's not much of a thing to watch. Be fascinated, obviously, even with some of Sky's little teasers and trailers. Obviously, they're heavily pushing the Vegas vibe for this season, which is pretty cool. So that'll be interesting for this year. But does it look like it's going to be another walk in the park for Verstappen?
It does. Yeah. I mean, if you look at the first race today, he won it by a canter. And the first couple of races of last season were actually pretty competitive, and then it fell away and became a one-horse race. But it was pretty much a canter for Red Bull today, and they got a 1-2.
But that is a combination of let's not make any mistake here. The guy's a talented driver.
Oh, he's a brilliant driver. Yeah, very aggressive.
And he's in a very, very good car as well. So that combination means that ultimately, yes, you can dominate that sport. It's not a tricky thing to do.
Oh, great.
But the problem is it doesn't make it much of a spectacle. It's like going back to the football when we say, everybody really wants it to not just be a 2-horse race in the Premier League. You want it to be 2, 3 or 3 or 4 teams in the mix towards the end of the season because it makes it more interesting to watch. And Formula One, if it is, when was last season? It was done pretty much halfway through the season, wasn't it? As good as.
What Formula One?
Yeah,
it was. Yeah, it maybe more 3/4 way through the season, but it was never in doubt. We'll put it that way. It was just an exercise of getting to the finishing line. The first few races.
It's going to be
cool.
even less competitive this year, and it's not great from a crowd pleasing point of view because it's already not worth watching.
Yeah.
So what do they do? Are they, Des? You're well into your Formula One. Are they bringing more restrictions or things in to try and get it competitive again, or what's the plan?
Well, I mean, look, the cost cap should, in theory, bring the teams closer together because, bigger budgets are a huge advantage. So that's one element. This season, I think they are looking to do more sprint races. So that has the potential of throwing up more interesting grids for the actual, the Sunday races, and the points get allocated a bit more widely. But in saying all of that, it's hard to look at this season and see anything other than a Red Bull canter. And the interest becomes much more about, the mid-table and, whether McLaren are going to fall off a cliff or come back up. So it's not necessarily about who's going to win, because I think that's pretty close to being determined.
Oh yeah, but
already.
what does any of that matter? It doesn't. I mean, it's just
like,
who's going to end up mid-table. It's not relegation or anything, is there? So
it's like everything else. You just watch specific teams, and there's an interest in that. But that's only if you're really deeply into the sport. I think Vegas will be interesting. Vegas will bring a lot of new people out, and the new Drive to Survive series was, still pretty good. It will bring people. I mean, the sport is in rude health. The numbers have never been greater. So, despite the lack of competition last season, still doing extremely well from a viewing point of view.
My thoughts exactly, Lee.
yeah.
Who are... There he is.
Oh, dear.
Right. Time to get a drink.
What do you mean, let's get a drink? I've been drinking all night.
That's a good plan.
What are you doing? Ah, go away. Don't think my flush draw is good here. River a flush draw and a straight draw as well. Oh wait, Dan. He's already dead. Leave him alone.
Of course you've got Jack 10. Of course you've got Jack 10. Why wouldn't you have Jack 10? Yeah.
You're a bad man. Fold. Thank you.
So again, Des, just to be clear there, I've flopped the best hand in a really good position because flush draws aren't looking at much there as well. Dan's got there on the turn with his Jack 10, whatever other rubbish he had. And I lose again.
Sometimes.
Why are you betting that river?
Are you going to lose it?
Why are you betting that river?
So people at home can see the showdown
okay.
for the viewers. That's the only reason why I'm doing that.
Did I check to you? Yeah, I did.
Sorry?
I did check raise you on that river, didn't I?
Yeah.
You should have called.
You know, there's only one hand I'm doing that with, right?
Oh yeah, no, 100%. I know, but again, it's for the viewers
it was
at home.
$5.87 for the fans.
It's for the fans. That's all we do. The only reason we do this. It's the only reason we do this.
For the brand. Lee's all about the brand, yeah.
Okay.
All about the brand.
I've literally covered up all the other buttons on here other than pot or fold. So that's
Oh, don't take it out on me.
Guys, is it next week that the World Series of Poker circuit thing kicks off at DTD?
So it actually started, I think, this weekend, and it's running for 2 weeks.
Ooh, nice. Is anybody going up to it? Do we know? And do we know of anyone within the circle?
I think there's plenty of people planning on maybe playing one or two things. So it's 12 ring events.
Yeah.
In total, there's a so there's also the main event is 1,000 buy-in with a $500,000 guarantee on it, but say loads of other really good events on it as well.
Where's this?
So up at Dusk Till Dawn, the WSOP circuit.
Wow, can't wait. Just one interlude question before we kick on and talk some more about that. Simon, has the online league died? No, Simon. We are going to be bringing back.
Honestly, I hate
bringing back some good
wait.
online games at some point in the very near future. We're just finalising some details around that. Are you going to go and play any of these games, Leigh? The circuit? Are you tempted?
I may well do. Second weekend, I might try and get up there and play one or two of them. I don't think I'll be able to play the main because that goes on till the following Monday, and I need to be back on the Monday for something. But they say there's some nice events on the Friday and Saturday. So I might well try and head up and play one of those. It's going to be a good experience. I say the Dust Till Dawn was all nicely kitted out with a WSOP logos and bits and pieces, getting ready for that. So it does look very good. And just another one of many decent events at Dust Till Dawn this year. Before we know it, we'll be back up there come May for the UK.
Yeah, I did read a disappointing comment the other day about somebody dissing the atmosphere of Dust Till Dawn.
Seemed an odd one to me. Yeah, I did see it.
No,
and it was also from a group that
thought,
really loved their atmosphere. Seemed an odd one. But maybe it was just like the bar was so busy, or, maybe it's not easy to sit down.
I mean, one thing, but they're kind of learning again. So last weekend, one of the things that they did realise is when we were obviously all sat down 360 every table, and they realised that they should have put it on a split break. To give the room a little bit, and not so much for the players as such, but to try and give the valet staff and the bar staff a chance to actually serve everybody that wants a drink or want anything during a 20-minute break. Yeah. So there's a few things that they're learning there when they've got those bigger events like APAT on to realise they need to do that. But you would think
by now they would have a fully stocked bar though.
Well, every time APAT seem to rock up, there seems to be a problem of some sort, which is not of our making.
It's that APAT has rocked up, I think.
Yeah, and it's not really of Dust Till Dawn's making. The weird one this weekend, the weekend just gone, was they couldn't get any of the draft beers to work.
Run out of gas, didn't they?
Completely random. Yeah, just don't know what happened with it.
I think they ran out of gas for the draft. Luckily, I think they managed to get in touch with the supplier and say, please give us more gas because we're going to make a fortune.
Yeah, so everybody had to drink bottled beer on the Friday night, but then they got it fixed. But really, I guess, Dan, the point is when Dust Till Dawn is packed, so when you've got 300 to 400 players in there, probably that bar area isn't necessarily big enough. Really, I mean, if you remember back in the day, they used to have the additional two marquees, one either side. So one was additional poker tables, and the other was a hospitality area. And I guess that's the point. Is actually as a venue goes, it's huge, but it probably is lacking a little bit in capacity when they're really full for the big stuff. And I don't know what they do about that, because I think the cost of the marquees and everything, unless it's not easy to do. But I don't know what they do about the venue, because there's nowhere else to go with it.
Well, the staggered breaks help, Leigh, right? That would sort of eat into a chunk of the problem immediately. Very doable. I mean, we've had many staggered breaks over the years. A very doable solution, that one.
I thought the valleys were very good on Saturday.
Yeah,
to be fair to them.
I'll tell you what, they're
outstanding.
when you see them with a tray of drinks that could have a dozen drinks on it, and some of them are quite quite petite in size, and they're heading into a crowd of poker players with these drinks. You're thinking, you're fearing for either the tray of drinks or some players or whatever. But actually, they're so good at what they do.
I say, we never wait. I mean, I was in a round drinking bottles of wine with Simon Brook and Pabbles, but we like literally, if you wanted a valet, they were literally there within 2 minutes.
Yeah,
you didn't have to wait like long for one to turn up. It was really good.
The valet availability is directly proportional to actually the seating arrangement.
I mean, I won't lie. The 10 people at the table got a little bit slug at times.
And again, unfortunately, the plan was to go straight from 10 down to 9, but they Dust Till Dawn had a sickness bug that had absolutely ripped through their dealers. So they had about a dozen dealers out. And again, unfortunately, you can train up and have a great set of dealers lined up, but if you have that sort of thing happen, there's not a venue anywhere that is going to be able to do much about that. You just got to make the best of it. And they had
then sit there with John Murray in your knee for 3 hours.
Yeah, they had some of the cashier staff were dealing to start with, just to and to be fair, every table had a dealer at start plate on the Saturday, and so you can't really fault that.
No, I had no like arguments now kind of run, because like you say, there was a lot of people in that tournament. It's obviously the biggest team event ever, and I think it was anyway. And like I say, it ran as well as it possibly could do, and I say the valleys were absolutely outstanding. They were literally on a rail, just circuiting around the room, asking if anyone wants drinks, and which obviously was high on my list of priorities. So I was happy.
I must admit, I did a little wrap-up video after the thing, and the sort of the theme became one of just no drama. It seemed to be a relatively calm weekend. There was no big issues. All the dealers were there. Everybody seemed to be reasonably happy. It just seemed to work pretty smoothly, the whole thing. It seemed like a really good weekend, but without, I didn't see anyone getting in trouble or anything. It all seemed very, very calm this time around, which was
that's good. I fell asleep.
Simon says, missed the old buffet break. Do you remember the old buffet break?
Yeah.
Right? The buffet generally was where Ticey was standing about 5 minutes before we hit the break. Ticey was there waiting. Missed the old buffet. Miss Ticey. Miss Ticey.
Miss Ticey, definitely. You just, I missed me chicken curry on a buffet break. It was fantastic every time. See, that's the reason I fell asleep, because I didn't get any free food halfway through the day.
That's where poker's moved on, isn't it? In everything, in what happens. I was thinking that the other day when I was looking at the at some of the online schedules and stuff, that even the satellites these days have all been structured differently. And I know I've had a bit of a gripe and a moan about satellite structures on here before, but it isn't like it's not how it used to be now. They're all focused on putting guarantees on, and therefore you've got to sit and play about 8 hours if you want to play the decent satellite at the end of the night. So you've got to start playing mid-afternoon to actually work your way up through a satellite tree. It used to be you could earn a ticket and then hold on to that and use it in a couple of days or whatever. Everything is now instant. There's an expectation that you'll just turn it around, because they're putting guarantees on for seats and tickets and all this kind of thing. And it's everything's feeding in, and unfortunately, yes, it isn't like it used to be, where you could just sit there and kind of do it, work a satellite and qualify for an event in your own leisure time. Now it's got to do it on that day, because that's how they've structured it.
Get out my pot, Wiltshire. Go on.
Oh, I've got a 5. Is a 5 good?
Well, that depends, doesn't it, really? I mean, where's the? All about the content and showing, getting the show down when I've got.
I told everyone I had a 5. What more do you want? Yeah. Wasn't a lot else to go with it, to be honest, Stu. To be fair, it really wasn't going to set the world alight.
It was thin.
That is for sure.
Right, guys, 11:20. Why don't we go to past, eh?
Yeah,
Come
I
on,
was going
Leigh.
to say we'll play.
You've got 10 minutes to get your money back.
I don't think these two are going to be giving me my money back in the next 10 minutes. That's for sure. I don't think.
Next time
they're
Paul
both.
says, can we play Omaha instead? Right, I'm going to say no.
They're just going to sit there politely.
Well, I'll give you a chance to get your money back. I promise.
Okay.
Oh, and Stu takes another one down.
Sure.
Well,
So you're quietly building up, Stu. Have you reloaded
yes,
at all?
I have. Lee, yes, I have.
Have you? Okay, right. Okay, just checking.
Yes, yes, I have. I got Owston. Yeah.
Well, I've been ousted at least twice. So is he taking cash off the table or something? Then how does this work?
He gave money to Paul.
Ah, right. Okay, but didn't think it was that much though. I feel like I've seriously depleted funds here, but maybe it's not too
But if you
bad.
check it, you'll deplete less.
Dan took all the money off the table and ran.
It's 12.
I mean,
it's $12.
The good thing is I pretty much nearly now got an entire Bournemouth player's cash back for the week on my account. So it's all about
Leigh's bought a Bournemouth player.
it's all about playing the volume, folks. That's what you got to do if you want to get your cash back on Party Poker.
Go have a look. Ooh. Ooh. That have a look at a card thing's fucking lethal. Honestly, I've been doing it all day. It's like, yep, I'll have a look what's coming.
Oh, I switch all that off, Stu. I don't play any of that.
Can't be doing that.
Nonsense. No, I can't be doing that. So, Des, this week the teaser for the final season of Succession dropped. Have you seen? I don't know whether you've seen
really?
it.
No,
So
I haven't seen that.
a little trailer for. I think it starts on the 26th or 20 something.
Oh, brilliant!
So
Love
the
that.
final season. So looking forward to that.
Love that. To be honest, Lee, over the last year, I feel like I've been in the final season of Succession.
I was going to say, yeah.
I mean, are you kidding me? I live through all of that stuff on a day-by-day basis. But I do enjoy that. What a great series. So it'll be good to see that back. So towards the end of this month, you said.
Yeah. So Paul messaged me earlier on the weekend and said, "So, how are you getting on with The Last of Us? Because obviously there's 2 more episodes of that. To go." I said to him, because he was raving about the last one, last week's one. I said again, I found it a little slow, I mean, it was a beautiful story and it was nicely done, but I didn't feel it told us a huge amount of anything in the hour that it was on. But I mean, the reviews about the series are absolutely raving about it, and everybody's loving it. But I'm just finding it a little bit.
Yeah, I've got to be honest with you. I do feel somewhat similar. I mean, they've shot it beautifully, and the story is very well done. And I get that they're pieces of a jigsaw puzzle, right? That's what we're seeing. But it does seem to be lacking a little bit of drive, a little bit of something.
Well, I watched it. I read one of the reviews, and I hadn't realised that this game was at the forefront of storytelling in computer games.
Huge,
Sorry, it was a game, Leigh.
Yeah, it was a massive big deal, and it was setting the benchmark for how storytelling in computer games was done. So I was quite surprised when reading all of that, thinking, well, there's not much of a story to this. There's individual bits and like chapters, but as far as actual kind of the narratives throughout and storyline throughout, it felt like it was lacking. Yeah. But I don't know. You obviously know the game, Stu. So what's your take on it?
It's true to the game, and it's really good. It's excellent. I mean,
but when you say true to the game, does that is that story, or the way the story's done, where it's in it feels like it's in separate little story chapters? Is that's how the game works?
Yeah, basically it bounces around a little bit. And stop raising my I'm going to hit a flop one day, Dan. You're going to be sorry. Sorry.
You not hit that flop?
God no. No, it's like The Witcher and the same kind of thing. It's like they're keeping it true to the storyline of the game, and the game was a little bit like random and bounce around and.
Yeah, the game for me is just sort of detail at this point. So I never played the game, never seen the game, don't know where this thing is going to go to. But I'm just judging it as a TV series. And, I'm sort of enjoying it. And as I mentioned from episode 1, I've been watching it with my 2 younger kids. And they're really enjoying it, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm enjoying just having something that we sort of, the 3 of us watch together and what have you. But I think Leigh is right. It's a bit, I just found it a bit odd last week that the week prior finished with a cliffhanger of, is Joel dead or not, right? Is he gone or not? And actually, we only had about 3 minutes of Joel in the whole last episode. So it just seemed odd that it was a cliffhanger and then it was only 3 minutes of him. So, I thought they did the episode brilliantly.
With these like gaming series, basically, I'd imagine they're actually thinking there's been millions of people have played this game. And if we can make this as true as we can to the gaming thing, we're going to have millions of viewers. because all the gamers will watch it, and then it's like, yeah, if you pick up some more people who haven't played the game and stuff,
Yeah,
and
but
that's fantastic.
Stu, listen, it's
But-
like I would compare that with playing a league game and a cup game, right? They're
Don't
different
you
things.
start with
They're
me.
different things, Stu. They're different things.
But honestly, it's like, it's like they're basically guaranteeing themselves millions of viewers, and then if they pick up some more, then fair enough. It's not all about.
Yeah, I hadn't realised how big. Say, having read some of the reviews and what people quite how big this game was and how much of a breakthrough it was when it came, and it came out a while ago.
Yeah.
We're talking, aren't we?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So.
yeah.
But it's just ginormous when you can get that many people that's invested in it already. Like The Witcher was the same. You get people who played the series for years, like when they were younger and stuff, and it's like they're going to watch the series regardless. And then you've already got your base, like massive audience. If you pick up other people, that's a bonus. It's the way they're probably seeing it.
Paul is referring to us as Philistines at the moment, and he explains because we spent the episode learning why Ellie couldn't lose anyone else. Sigh. Yeah, I mean, I get that. Obviously, I get that. And it was, the scene in the mall, where we go and, see something as simple as a photo booth and all of that stuff.
Oh, the retro
brilliantly
stuff
done.
was really cool.
Beautiful.
And all that. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And obviously appreciating that she's not seen a lot of this stuff because obviously they, the time.
Why wouldn't you get there? How on earth?
Oh dear. Oh dear. And I thought it was really, really brave and nice the way they did the, the we both got bit piece, right? The bites were so lost in translation. It was just a case of, oh God, look, that was brilliant. They didn't make a big drama out of it. It was so they've done things super well. Can't question it.
And of course, and we know
drive.
that they're both. It's left with them both thinking that they're done for.
Yeah.
But obviously, we know that that's not going to be necessarily the thing.
I realize these actually Paul. I mean, I'm a big gamer, but this is like literally Paul's wheelhouse. This one, Last of Us, is like literally Paul's wheelhouse.
Yeah.
The Witcher, I was massive on, but The Last of Us is like one of Paul's. I mean, I played it, but I wasn't like hugely into it.
Yeah.
Whereas this is like one I know that Paul is. It's weird. It's like never realized Paul was that big a gamer, and then we've both been learning things recently about computer gaming.
Nice.
I thought we were heading into, and we've both been learning things about each other lately.
Yeah,
and
it's very touching.
And we've become really close.
What would be wrong with that?
Nothing at all.
I'll tell you what I do like the gaming to TV, switch that we're seeing recently. I recently spent a tenner online watching Donkey Kong. Wasn't at all what I was expecting. I haven't gone back for any more. That's all that I'm saying. I just wrote that tenner right off.
Oh dear.
Wasn't a single ladder.
That banana's going to do, was it?
And on that bombshell.
I was going to say, I'm going to get, because Dan's going to call. Of course, Dan's going to call. Why wouldn't Dan call?
I mean, I'd love to call, but I've literally got.
I want to see the next card.
As you want to see the next card, of course
Can
you
we
do.
not play? Can we play one more hand after this? Because
it's not a club. It's not a club. So how does that affect things for you?
That's fine. How does that affect things for you?
Unlucky, Leigh.
It's not great because I'm thinking you probably got the other six. So
You're probably winning then.
He lied to you last time, Leigh. Don't believe him.
No, because I've that six absolutely screws me because I'm basically got nout anymore.
Did you beat ace high? Did you beat ace high?
No.
Didn't think so.
Right, is this the all-in hand, guys? Come on.
I hope not. He's got $61. He's a lunatic.
You want to bring the viewers back in next week? We need a cliffhanger.
Oh, for God's sake!
Do we want this to be the all-in hand, Stu?
Not yet.
Definitely not now.
Don't bet, please. You've won enough. What's wrong with you? You've got the king, and I've got a. I hate you.
He's making the call, isn't he, Leigh?
All right. Well, I'm potting the next hand, whatever.
He called it.
So
Of course I was calling. I'm never not calling. Call it, Paul. Call it, done.
everyone's going to be in. Here we go.
Yeah,
Here we go.
Family pot.
This is
one.
going to be. This is going to be. This is going to be.
sweet
This
Jesus.
is going to be a big
again.
Oh, the lack of enthusiasm for that flop is palatable. Oh, hello. No. Bloody hell.
I cashed out for $42 there.
What's going on?
Boom!
Oh, I don't believe
Who's got the ace king?
No, no.
Oh, sweet.
Dan, you are disgusting. You are absolutely.
Wow.
How on earth do you get there?
How the fucking hell do you flop a
Again.
set with fives when he's got queen five?
Yeah.
I just don't get how you got there. It's like.
Oh, come on! Seriously,
It's
that
the
has
game,
been
guys.
The story of the session.
No offense, you can't win if you fold.
I can't win if I call either, mate. I mean,
and on that bombshell,
Yeah.
Des,
Yeah.
we'll call it a night.
I think we'll close it on that one. That should bring the crowd back in next week. Superb. Well, listen, thank you to Dan and Stu for joining us. Leigh again. We're back next week, guys. We'll do this next Sunday night. Who knows who might pop in? So have a great week, everyone, and we shall see you next weekend. Gute Nacht.